What motivated us to start Origina, Rowan? I mean, whose crazy idea was this to take on the entire software industry
and change it for the better?
I think it was trauma, wasn't it?
Yeah, a mix of trauma, reinventing ourselves.
No, I think it was definitely trauma.
Was it?
Yeah, it's what gave us the resilience. You have to start life with something traumatic. It's like a rebirth.
Right. Okay.
You know, the life as a IBM business partner we had just really wasn't.
We had the scars. We had the emotional and physical scars.
It wasn't that fulfilling, was it?
No. We weren't in control.
No.
And I think there was a bit of us, we probably never said it, but a bit in our DNA that we were probably part of the problem. But we didn't say it.
Oh yeah, well, because we constantly wanted to do things our own way.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that empowerment thing we talk about. It's like we want to do it our way, not somebody else's way.
Yeah. You know, I mean, if I go back to our early days when we were an IBM BP, we used to resell the service we provide today on behalf of IBM. Customers never saw value in that. They used to actually, funny enough, pay on the double. We used to provide a service, a wraparound service on top of that. So that's 2 layers of support a customer had to take out to get the assistance they need. That didn't seem very logical to me. That seems a complete waste of money.
Well, we were looking at customers. The whole industry seemed like a rip-off. Like it genuinely did. It seemed there was constantly people were trying to sell you the latest thing that you didn't need, and it was like the whole industry was in cahoots, and nobody stood up.
Who was empowered?
But nobody stood up and said, "Stop! This is all wrong. Please don't continue doing this anymore." Like it was a handful of customers, and what would happen is because these were all our customers then and even now are large corporates. It was impossible for people to kind of speak out because the whole momentum and propaganda and, you know, everybody's, you know, you'd have large companies, remember, used to boast about how much money they spent with IBM.
It was like an accolade.
Oh yeah.
A badge.
So, and you go, why would you boast about spending so much money? Like it's like, especially if you actually really looked at it, you've wasted huge amounts of money. Like technology is great, but there's so much
But you
waste.
think about the industry, and this is one of the fundamental issues I've always had of the industry. The customer is never in control, so they've never had an option. It's either we go completely naked without it, but we can't do that because, you know, customers depend on the service. So we have to stay with IBM. They get to the boasting, but the only one that ever benefited was the vendors.
Yeah.
They were the only ones in control.
Oh yeah, and they had everything under control. They controlled the media, they controlled the customers, they controlled compliance. And if they couldn't get you there, they started working on all of the compliance structures, which are needed in most businesses. But they would get them to such a way and introduce standards and compliance, just to force people to do it their way instead of the customer's way.
And they controlled the purse strings.
Yeah. So we wanted to change all that. Oh, in a nightclub? No.
Hence the beers, just reminiscing.
Rowan had a flashy car, was looking for, I don't know how we ended up, you were looking for a job.
I remember, it was back in the days. I remember doing 5 interviews. This was back in our previous business. So this is where the beers are bring back memories. But I think it was 5. I guess when I joined the company, I could see something in what we were trying to do. And I think going back to our DNA and the empowerment and the origins, the guys, there was about 3 or 4 in the company, literally sitting on cardboard boxes startup. But I saw the potential. And having worked for large corporates in the past, you know, Microsoft and, you know, Wang, and it's, you know, you're that small cog in a, you know, big machine, and you have no autonomy. You can't make a change, right? Go back to our DNA. Why do we start all of this? And I guess what I saw is the opportunity to build something great. Like, you know, it was like you had a blank canvas, come in. This is the start of the business partner business back in the day, and to you know, create something special, right? And I think when I look back over the years, like we won lots of You remember we won lots of national awards, we won European awards.
Loads of awards.
We, and even when I look back, it was all about quality. The biggest focus I always drove with the team is let's build something that we'd be proud of, something magical. And we did.
Because in that old business, my business partner at the time was very jealous of you.
Was he?
He was. Because your car was nicer than his.
I think it's because I took his parking space.
He took his parking space. Your car was nicer. I was totally impressed. I mean, I wasn't into cars, and I'm not a big car person, not like you anyway. So I was looking at your car. He was a big car person, and you come in with a better car. I was like, sweet. For me, yeah, 100%. Yeah. No, 100%. That's the thing. I've always expected, it might sound strange. I always expected to be.
I love your confidence.
It's funny. It's like, in fact, where we're going to get to, I already expect to be there. Yeah. So wherever that is, I'm not sure exactly where it is.
You have to be good with ambiguity. I think we say that internally. I guess. So when we started this business out, it had a completely different operating model. We didn't know if customers would see through it, if they'd buy into it. It's a bit of that David and Goliath story. Like, we're starting small and now we're going to take on the might of IBM globally. There's a bit of that. But would people come on the journey with us? There was the confidence of belief, yes. But I think when I look back, it's and where we've yet to go, because we're still very embryonic. I think that it wouldn't have been a success without the belief and the confidence in terms of what we were doing, on the right track. We were doing the right thing for customers and doing the right thing for the industry as well in terms of changing it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to be a bit of a dreamer as well. I mean, I think entrepreneurs are dreamers.
Yeah.
I mean, sports people will tell you that they dreamt of, winning. They saw themselves winning, whether it's a rugby match or a tennis tournament or a golf tournament, you have to actually see that.
Yeah.
And if you see that, then it doesn't automatically come through. But it means that when you have success, you're not kind of totally shocked by it. You might, in your moments of, where you don't want to get too carried away and you can be humble about it. But ultimately, you have to actually believe you could get there. You have to believe.
The belief is there.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah. We don't want to come across as arrogant in any shape or form, but you have to have confidence. So for me, for sure, yeah, I've always had that, and I'm blessed with that, I guess. I've been lucky. Had it too.
Likewise. And I think it served us well, but still a good journey to go. So we're still dreaming. We're still dreaming of where we want to be.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the business has changed, hasn't it?
Business has changed. I think the vision is still the same, but it's massively changed over. Every day is a learning experience. It's for me, I guess it's learning. Scaling a hyper-growth business, that brings its own challenges. Learning every day in terms of what our customers' needs are, right? And that's certainly evolved, that's shaped our service. And I guess, how do we make sure that we don't become a dinosaur, that we're relevant, we're actually seen as an enabler.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, honestly, of course the business has changed, but the vision hasn't actually changed.
No.
I mean, I wrote something, probably more than 10 years ago at this stage about wanting to change the industry. And that's a big, bold statement to make when you're on a little island on the northwest of Europe and you're thinking, how the hell are we going to do it? But actually, go back to what we said earlier, you have to believe you can. You have to start with a bold statement. And so that vision hasn't changed. That vision has stayed exactly the same. The nuances, there's been nuances, and we're now focused on a very specific industry, of course. But making a difference, making a change, that's what we're about. Oh, what surprised me most about the journey to date has been that it's still fun. I actually think here's the thing I think surprised me, and I probably never said this to you, is that I'm actually still able to, well, so far, maybe. Don't tell me otherwise. So far, I'm still able to
Don't get carried away now.
Yeah, but I'm still able to do the job.
Yeah.
That's the bit that surprised me. Whatever about everything else, is that you're able to do the job as it's evolved, and you've changed, and you kind of, in your moments of doubt, you think, particularly because over the years we've had to bring in we have some really, really good people in the business.
Yeah, really.
We bring them in, and you think, oh God, they're much better than me. And I'm thinking, you're much better than us, maybe. I'm thinking, God, can I step up? And what surprises you, actually, you can. That's the thing. You can step up, and that kind of is a pleasant surprise, I guess, for me.
Yeah, I think another big surprise is how fast time has gone over the last number of years. And I agree with you. It's about, we still have the same hunger. I certainly do, anyway. I mean, in terms of the drive to realize that dream, the ambition, surprised in terms of maybe where we've got to today, and how much change we've been able to affect so far. And that's great. You know what I mean? But yeah, probably the passage of time, and it seems like it was only yesterday.
Is that old age?
I don't know. Is that a midlife crisis? No. That comes back to having so much fun. I think back to your point. Every day, it's not like you come in and it's I gotta drag my backside out of bed. Every day you've got the hunger for it. Every day it's still the vision in mind. You know what I mean? So that's it. And listen, it comes back to our culture as well. I mean, it's great, as you say. We've got some fantastic people. Both at the exec leadership side of things. We've got a great team there. We've got some fantastic employees and all our IBM experts. Every day, maybe one surprising thing is the talent we actually have and the ideas that come out of the team to help shape us where we want to be. That's really great to see as well.
And the customers, actually.
Yeah.
Because they're great. You know what I mean? They are great to work with. They're just fantastic. We're really lucky because you can have companies that are a bit of a pain in the ass and they're tricky to work with. But I would say without a single exception, there's every single one of our customers. We're so lucky. Maybe we weed them out earlier, or they weed us out, or there's somewhere along the line we find organizations that really like our story. We really like them. I mean, not 100% perfect all the time, but actually, when we meet them, it's a pleasure to meet customers.
I think it's back to relationships. I mean, every customer, we can understand that there's a sense of fear, and who Origina, we don't know you guys yet. It's like the awkward first dance. You need to get into a bit of a rhythm, and I think it's great to see customers turn around, begin to be more trusting and stuff. Where we're letting more in. We demonstrate the value, and again, that's kind of great to see over time. Other than my new puppy and stuff, for that barking about for it.
Nothing. I sleep very well. No, we've been through a lot together. I mean, our business was started, I said at the beginning, it was founded by trauma. The trauma was we had a traumatic exit from a relationship with IBM that started us, and that was very hard. But I remember my wife, Leona, telling me, turn around, she going, like, through all of this, she couldn't believe I'd sleep like a baby. So I'm very lucky. I think you're probably the same. We don't really, we get stressed, and I'm sure you're the same. I get stressed in the moment, and you get, you might flip, or occasionally we got to control our kind of
our passion,
perhaps. Let's call it that. Yeah. But that's only because we're passionate about the business. But I personally don't have anything that keeps me up at night. If there was anything at all, it might be something that I've done. So that would be the only thing. It wouldn't be about anybody else. I wouldn't ever be thinking about it. It'd be something maybe I didn't feel like I did my job the way as good as I could do. I let myself down, and that's another motivation. But that would be the only thing that would keep might even stop me going to sleep as quickly as I normally go to sleep.
Yeah. Wouldn't have anything that keeps me, because as you say, like, we've been through such an up and down. We had a lot of hard times and stuff for that. I think the only thing in terms of what we've built now is not so much keep you awake at night, but it's the sense of don't want to let either our customers or our team down. We've built such a great team. Keep the momentum there, right? Let's not take the eye off the ball. Let's not lose the kind of focus and the drive to keep it going, And again, they've all invested in us, both customers and the team. I think that would be something, so to make sure we don't let them down on the journey, and we keep that going. Yeah.
feedback from customers. Yeah, when they tell us we do a great job, I get a great thrill out of that. I love hearing some feedback because it's about us and it's about our people. It's about the service. It's about what we've built. Winning more customers as well. It's kind of gives me a thrill. And seeing the enjoyment that the staff who we're working with, they love. Most of them, not all of them, I'm sure, all the time, but most of the time, most of them, I would say, enjoy working here.
Yeah.
Or at least they come across like they do.
Yeah, I think if I go back to the early days, I think what's a great thrill now is proving all the naysayers that it would never happen. You'd never do it. Possible is not my vocabulary.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And to be able to step back now and kind of, we did it, and again, back to your point, it's the thrill of when you see the stories coming through, and again, it's not perfect, but overall, our customers delighted. Where to show what we've built can be, because sometimes a lot of customers think that, how can your service be better than the manufacturer? It's like, you're down here, but IBM's up here, and I think we've proven where we can actually overstep IBM, and I think seeing that feedback from customers. Yeah, that gives it a thrill. And again, with the team, love working within the organization, the culture, that spurs everyone on, and we're all on that journey for excellence and so. But I think that's the biggest thing for me. That's what motivates me, hearing that back from customers, and then how we delight them. That's a great buzz. The beer is not bad either. Seize the opportunity. You say that every day to me, don't you?
Yeah?
Yeah, I think that would be
Seize the day, I think we say.
Seize the day, yeah, but seize the opportunity as well. It's like, we've got to, I guess both of our styles is like we're not micromanagers. I guess if I look at, the journey of some of the staff that have come on board and their own journey in the organization, I think they've very much done that. They come on board, they buy into the belief for what we're about. And it's that can-do attitude. It's, being able to, where they can make a difference in your organization, and they seize it. Not wait around to be told, there you go, but they just get out there and seize it. You know what I mean? And it's great to see how the company's benefited on the back of where you have a culture like that and people do it. So that would be one thing I'd say is,
Yeah, I think as well, on top of that, I totally agree with you. I think on top of that, I think people coming in, when you're first in, be inquisitive, ask questions, be confident that you're hired because you're good at your job. You got through the interview process. It was probably tricky because we're, like all companies, we have to, both sides have got to make sure we get the right people in the business. Communicate as much as possible with people. I think though, like in a fast-growing business, one of the things we talk about this at exec level, but I think it's no matter where you are in the business, be comfortable with ambiguity. We talked about this earlier. Be comfortable that actually you're not, in a fast-growing company, even the people who run the business, us, we don't always know the answers to things. So we all have to be comfortable that it's not quite sure what we can't. You're not going to get a very prescribed list all the time of what exactly you should be doing. We do our best to do that, but sometimes it may not be complete. It may need some additions, and sometimes it might even be wrong, and you might have to adjust on the fly. And being able to do that, it's why we go back to hiring people with resilience, because they're usually good at that.
Yeah, and use your moral compass. You know what I mean? There's no guidebook in terms of what's right or wrong. Everyone makes mistakes. We've made enough mistakes, so we make mistakes every day of the week. But don't dwell on it. Learn from it. And drive it forward. Yeah, 100%.